Hey, how was your day? I am recording from my office for the first time. Um, Thought I would try to record from a couple of different places in my life that you don't often get to see while I'm on my own mental health journey. It is the end of the day. I am just about ready to go home, but I wanted to check in and talk about what's been happening. It was a good day today. I got a lot done. I feel good about myself. I feel good about my ability to listen and help other people. I am still struggling with whatever it is in the air, so my voice is still a little scratchy and my eyes are watery, but I'm I'm managing. This week, it's only Tuesday. This week has been insightful. It's a good word, insightful. Um, what I am showing myself is just reinforcement that I have grown and that I am the person that I am or have been trying to be. Um, I am quick to resolve anger and resentments before they overwhelm me and overtake how I interact with other people and how I interact with myself. And that feels good in a way that I wasn't fully prepared for. Um, when you're on a journey of self-awareness or mental health, you don't always have opportunities to check in and measure your own progress in ways that aren't triggering or upsetting or um, that lead to regression. So it's been positive to look at my reactions or lack of reaction and and feel growth. Um, I am still a highly emotional person. I always have been ever since I was a little boy. My feelings just come out. And it wasn't until I don't know if I actually know, but it wasn't until later in adolescence or early adulthood where I started to move away from being highly emotional. Um, as a highly emotional kid, I grew up in an environment where feelings didn't get a lot of attention. And this isn't a woe is me story. I'm not talking about my parents in an unflattering light or meaning to attack their character. They did the best they could. I am in the position that I am in now in life because of them, and I'm grateful and I appreciate everything that they did and all the sacrifices they made. This isn't that. But the truth is I grew up in a household where emotions were not embraced. Um, we didn't talk about feelings. We talked about how to avoid them. Go play outside. Don't think about it. The normal uh, kind of sociological responses that are programmed into certain minorities, especially people of Latino descent. Um, Feelings are an extravagance, if you will, and so they don't get the full appreciation um, that they do maybe now in some more evolved households. But anyway, I've always been a highly emotional kid, and It was both good and bad because there were extremes to how I felt. And it wasn't something that I was conscious of at the time. I wasn't conscious of it even being a difference between myself and other kids my age at the time. There were other things. Obviously, there was an effeminance and um, ultimately a denial about being homosexual, and this also isn't that. This is specifically about my emotional intelligence and being able to feel things the way that I feel things. Um, was intense very, very early on, as far as I can remember. And not having the vocabulary for exactly what that meant made it difficult when that experience began to drift into the anxiety and depression and self-harm realm. So at some point, my decision was to numb or not feel, and that led to denial and substance abuse and other things. Um, and so getting to a place in my life where I am able to fully embrace exactly how highly emotional I am in a safe and healthy way. It feels good. And it also feels like there's a very small part of me that's like, oh, why? Why did it take so long to get here? But now that I am here, that's the important part. What do I do with it? And so being a highly emotional person, especially who works in the mental health space, I think makes me a little more attuned to what people are not saying when they're talking to me. And hearing from people who are finding that relatable and helpful is good for me, not just in the self-promoting kind of attaboy sense, but because it helps me know that I'm on the right track. Um, if people who are in my life feel secure, if they feel safe, if they feel stabilized, or if they feel seen, if they feel supported, then that is to some degree an extension of my ability to feel those things and having those having enough of those sensations and emotions and experiences to share, which is the point of all of this. Um, so yeah, I'm having a good day. I'm having a good week. Um, I am going to the zoo tomorrow, which I'm excited about because there are gorillas, which are new. And so that'll be fun. Get to decompress with my husband and have another adventure, and that's always good. Um, I am I am so eternally grateful for so many things that it's difficult to uh, list them all off when I'm doing this kind of self check-in journaling. Uh, I mentioned this morning in the recording that I am grateful for integrity and accountability, and I am. I am also grateful for opportunity. Um, when I joined this practice 6.5 years ago and left emergency medicine, I wasn't really sure where my life was headed. Um, I knew that I was burning out in a way that I couldn't fully understand at the time, but I was dissatisfied in many ways with where I was working and the kind of work I was doing. And I knew that there was more for me. I knew that I could be more effective and more purposeful somewhere else. I just didn't know where or how to get there. And so when Derek approached me randomly one day and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about leaving the emergency room and going into private practice? Would you want to work with me?" I knew that was something near what I wanted, but there was so much of myself in the way of being able to identify how exactly I wanted to serve people and what I wanted the future of my career to look like. And so ultimately, the first time that he asked me about leaving the ER, I said no. Um, Months later, when he came back and said, I think you should reconsider, I did. And I did. Uh, I changed my mind. I started with this practice in March of 2020, a little over 6 years ago, literally the week before we shut everything down because of the pandemic. Throughout that time, we continued coming to work and trying to help as many people as we could reach. And it's been an incredible opportunity that has allowed me to develop not just into the mental health clinician that I am, but overall. I mean, I think I know more about emergency medicine. I know more about the human body. I know about uh, disease processes and alternative treatments than I ever would have if I had stayed in the ER. And so I am grateful for Derek and for the opportunities in my life that he has placed in my path and allowed me to take advantage of. Um, I am looking forward to this next stage of my career as I am allowed to fully embrace the clinician role. Even though I have been seeing patients in my limited capacity, as I wore both administrator and clinician hats, um, the momentum that we're building here with the team that we're building and the administrative and structural and organizational changes that are happening that are giving me more time to devote and pour into myself are really starting to show. Um, so I'm excited. Part of what brought that up is that I finally sat down today and wrote specific to my role and my patients' experiences with me a post-session survey, uh, asking them for blatant feedback, what they liked, what they didn't like, what they wish would happen differently, uh, and really asking them to help me become a better provider. And the fact that I emailed that maybe 2 or 3 hours ago and people care enough to respond already. Um, yeah, it's just another sign that this is the right path for me, that I am listening to where I am called to be and that I am serving other people, which is the point of all life, in my opinion, but specifically my life. Um, and finding out how I define my connection to the oneness in this stage of my life is it's just fun. I'm just having a lot of fun. Um, so I'm grateful for all of those things, and I'm grateful for anyone who is stumbling upon this online journal of mine. I did want to reiterate that this is an exercise for me personally. This is never or was never intended to be something that garnered a following or created influence. This is an expression of vulnerability for myself. Um, the the constant check-in is something that keeps my progress moving forward. Recording it is for me, and publishing it is for me. The idea that other people could read or could react or could listen to this is part of the openness exercise and being vulnerable and being honest about what's happening in my life. Um, but it really is just, um, it's like journaling. This is my journal, and it's one of the many things that I do to make sure that I am centered and grounded and taking inventory and constantly growing. And yeah, there was negative comment a few weeks ago where somebody said uh, something along the lines of, It's good that you're paying attention to your mental health, um, but sharing it online was," and they use a stupid pejorative. Um, and even that comment, normally I would have responded to and kind of gone off the rails and rallied against their hatred or their intolerance or, "You're missing the point. How could you?" Blah, 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 blah." But I just hid the comment instead and wished the person well and kept doing what I was doing. So if you're listening to this, I appreciate it and I appreciate you. And if you can relate to it at all, I am happy to engage in the comments. But this is for me. So, yeah, I hope you have an amazing day, amazing night, wherever you are in the world. If you are listening, I am on my way home to have dinner with my husband. And so I will end there with a deep breath in and out. Thank you. I love you. I forgive you. Please forgive me. And we will pick this up again tomorrow. Bye.